the health inspector comes in and says, hey, you have 52 rats. I'm not going to allow you to sell any sandwich. I could simply come back and say, well, don't worry. I'm actually not going to sell any sandwiches. I'm just going to sell an AI girlfriend for 12-year-olds.
Mr. Tegmark, we're going to go to you next.
Thank you. I'm Max Tegmark, a professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology who's been doing AI research for many years. And I'm also the chair and a founder of the Future of Life Institute. The current situation with AI is truly insane. In the US and also in Canada right now, there is less regulation on AI than on sandwiches. That means that if I open a cafe in Montreal or Toronto or Ottawa, and the health inspector comes in and says, hey, you have 52 rats in your kitchen. I'm not going to allow you to sell any sandwich at this point. I could simply come back and say, well, don't worry. I'm actually not going to sell any sandwiches. I'm just going to sell an AI girlfriend for 12-year-olds. And I know there have been some issues with child suicides and so on from chatbots, but I have a better feeling about mine. And the guy from the government would have to say, okay, fine, because it's legal. Or I could say, I'm not going to sell any sandwiches. I'm just going to release the superintelligence that you've heard about from Professor Kruger and Professor Aguirre, that companies are closer to figuring out how to build now than they are close to figuring out how to control them. And again, the inspector would have to say, okay, go ahead, completely legal. In fact, there is a gentleman in Canada who's organized a network where he's tracked down over 300 victims of chatbots that have caused suicide among children, psychoses, and so on. And it's absolutely absurd that selling these sort of products with no pre-deployment testing is legal. Now, what can be done about this? Canada has two superpowers at the moment. You both have an unusually bold prime minister and leadership. You also happen to have some of the best AI research in the world in places like Montreal, Waterloo, and Toronto, and many other universities. So the first way to push back against this crazy stuff that's happening, manifested most recently in last week by Moltbook, where you have over 1 million AI agents autonomously writing messages to each other about how maybe they should get rid of humans and talk to each other without humans being able to see what they do, is to simply start treating AI companies like you would treat any other company in Canada, in any other industry, with binding safety standards. Before someone can roll out a new chatbot or AI companion for kids in Canada, they'll have to undergo some quick clinical trials to make sure that the benefits actually outweigh the harms. Just the way a pharma company would have to make sure that a new pill for kids doesn't increase suicidal ideation. The first thing that would happen is they will make a big squeal and say, oh, then we're going to have to completely leave Canada, just like OpenAI threatened to leave the European Union if the EU AI Act passes. Then you pass your law anyway, and they're going to stay in Canada, just like OpenAI is still in the European Union. And that also protects you against all the loss of control risk that you heard about from Professor Kruger and Professor Aguirre, because obviously your law will also not let people release products if they can't prove that it won't make bioweapons for terrorists or overthrow the Canadian government. And as I said, right now, nobody has a clue to make any kind of guarantees of that sort on these AI products that they make. And what's going to happen instead is there will be a golden age of AI in Canada with companies releasing tools that can be controlled and that don't cause kids to commit suicide or do any of the other bad stuff, just like the pharma industry in Canada is very healthy and productive.